I hope I did this part right. Let me see here.
Hey, how you doing, folks? Gotta keep it going a little bit. I'm in a laundry net. So the guy who's going to be doing your laundry and washing your load all the time is going to be Mark Sweetman on the off time. So I'm doing my portion from the laundromat. So anyway, we're on location. But please welcome your guy, your laundromat master. Please welcome Mark Sweetman.
Hey, everybody. It's the off night. I figured out since I've been playing that music now that is not the music that they ditched their show for. That's not the offending music, because I've been using that again for the last couple of weeks and we've been able to get away with it. So I'm not sure what they use to determine whether we've broken copyright laws. I think what they do is they listen to the topics, and they have a voice analyzer that says, "Oh, they're talking about taking music that they should be paying for. We better check this out." So, yeah. Andy, how you been? Last time we talked to you, you were in a bus station. Today, you're in a laundromat. This is always. Now, you've been our roving reporter since the very beginning. It's quite coincidental now. It's not purposeful as it once was. So
no, this was actually a life expectancy sort of thing. But I'm at a very famous place. I don't know if you remember that show that had. Let's see if I got a picture here. But I'm at the Mr. Stadium. Can't do this, right?
Is that the one on State Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that was highlighted in the movie with Kevin Costner when he got the T-shirt, because it was supposed to be from U of M. I think I can't remember the name of the movie. It was a romantic movie, but something like that.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Stadium. It's famous because it's at Ann Arbor and has maize and blue as its colors.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the movie that.
How's it going?
Do you want me to take over from here, Andy? It sounds like you got some. Some
working on the load here.
There we go.
Once I get over there, I'll be able to talk to you more.
Now, do you when you do your laundry, do you mix colors and whites?
Oh, I don't have any whites. I just have colors. I have color socks. I don't have any whites at all.
God, the beauty of being over 60. You just don't.
There you go.
You just don't have to worry about if anything matches, if anything is right for the season.
It's all just color, and it's just one load. You have to separate anything out for a white section, because if you're doing it by yourself, that's an extra $6.
Oh, gee, didn't even think about that. Holy cow.
So color socks, color outfits. Put them all together, you're all set.
All right, well, while you're doing that, I'm going to bring out
entertaining as heck.
Yeah. We got Sam off to the side here, so let's get Sam Greenfield in here. Sam, for those of you viewing in for the first time, which may happen since I actually did an ad for this show that I put out there this week. Sam's our veteran comic. I mean, we're all old, and all veterans, but Sam is the veteraniest of the veterans. Been doing it a long, long time. Knows everybody in the business. Also did radio for a while. Knows people in that industry. So we love having him here each week. Great storyteller. Great. What did he say? A great legend teller and perpetrator. He keeps things going for the people that are new to this, or the people letting us know about some of the great things that happened in the past. So far, though, we haven't explained the Danny Thomas references, but I think that should be kept as it is. I think that's sort of like a thing that all comics should know, and other people need to find out for themselves. So anyway, here he is, your friend, my friend, Sam Greenfield, everybody.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sam.
You know, Danny Thomas, Pittsburgh Plate and Glass's best client. Oh my God.
You know what?
By the way, I want to
You know what? You
piggyback
know what's
on.
funny about Sam? It's funny about that. You mentioned Pittsburgh Plate and Glass. To me, after these last couple of years with what's his name running around, Giuliani running around, I'm thinking Giuliani in a day replaces a lifetime of stories of Danny Thomas. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely.
I mean, it's
Oh
just
yeah. Oh my God, sure. Because and I'll tell you why, in my opinion, because Danny Thomas's deserved lasting legacy is St. Jude's.
oh, exactly.
He has saved that place, and with his daughter Marlo,
Yeah.
and with the fine staff and the people who've contributed money, has saved, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, thousands of children's lives.
Well,
Thousands.
can I tell you my connection to that is our oldest daughter needed a bone marrow transplant.
Uh-huh.
And the fine folks at the University of Michigan said, "Yeah, we don't think she's that ill. We think she can do fine with the treatment we can give her."
Uh-huh.
She had sickle cell,
Mm.
which is not too many people
Ooh.
live past the age of 40 with sickle cell, and it's a very painful existence.
Am I
And
okay
so,
to sit down?
and the way they treat it, is
All right.
with blood transfusions and other medications for blood disorders. But they had determined that because one guy with leukemia who also had sickle cell, when he had the bone marrow transplant for the leukemia, it also cured the sickle cell. They said, "Aha, we might be able to use this for sickle cell." My daughter was, I think, maybe the third person under the age of 10 who had this procedure specifically for sickle cell. And they do it; it's common practice now, and now they're doing other things. Now they're working on different studies to not even have to do a bone marrow transplant. But we're talking about 16 years ago now. Anyway, they weren't going to do it. Her hematologist, Dr. Andrew Campbell, who's now down in Washington D.C. at some national hospital. His wife took a job with the Trump administration. She's not a Trumper, but that's where the job was. Anyway, he called. He made a pitch for us to St. Jude's because we had to, we needed a doctor because we went to St. Jude's to see if they do it. And he made the pitch for us. And because they said, "Yeah, bring her down here, we'll do it. And we'll even pay for your room and board for the parents to stay with her while we do it." And as soon as they said yes, then the University of Michigan said, "Okay, we'll do it." So they needed to lose our revenue in order to come through. So that's our connection to St. Jude's. They were willing to do the bone marrow transplant, so U of M did.
I would also like to piggyback on something Andy said. I don't have any whites either, except for socks.
All my
Did you hear
underwear.
me?
Yeah, I get that.
Except for socks. That's it.
What's funny is all my white shirts are at my son's apartment out in Los Angeles because the only time I wear a dress shirt is when I have meetings where I feel like I have to look like I have to wear a tie, and then my ties go with my Hawaiian or plaid shirts. So.
Yeah.
Oh, now here's my story. By the way, the movie you guys were thinking of, was it Field of Dreams?
Yes. No. The movie I was thinking of, where he's at U of M, he was a U of M student. Kevin Costner played a U of M student. It was a ripoff of the Secaucus 7. That's the movie I remember. But it was Lawrence Kasdan wrote and directed it.
Oh, The Big Chill.
The Big Chill. The Big Chill.
But you know the story about that, right?
Kevin Costner was the corpse. Yeah, that was the corpse.
Yeah.
And so Kasdan said to him, "You're not going to be in this movie." And he told him, he said, "But you will be a major part in the next movie." And the next movie was Silverado.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That was a good one.
Huge, and he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
I was amazed that all those guys, I mean, I know they have like ways to fake that. They all seem to be able, I don't mean like they could gallop, but they all seem to be able to ride horses.
Oh, they've got a whole system of trainers and horses, and they match horses up to the actors. I mean, that whole
Danny Glover, Kevin Kline, but
yeah.
Costner really seemed to know what he was doing. And
Yeah,
I'll
but
tell you
they
someone else who knows what he was doing on a horse, and it's because I read a story about him, Jamie Foxx. He was raised in Texas,
uh-huh.
and he was raised around horses. And if you saw Django,
I saw it.
when he jumps on that horse and is using his mane as a reins,
Uh-huh.
that's him.
Wow.
That is absolutely him. Very impressive. So here's my Alex Karras story.
Okay. These are always good.
Alex Karras was blind as a bat without his glasses. Okay.
Okay.
So he's playing the Chicago Bears. And whoever is opposite him, he was a defensive tackle. So whoever the offensive guard was cheating, poking him in the eye, punching him in the throat, hitting him in the nuts, whatever he could do. Okay. And Karras became furious. And the coach of the Bears noticed he was becoming furious. So he took that offensive guard out and put in Karras's brother, Ted, who was an offensive tackle, a guard for the Bears. And on the next play, Alex Karras proceeded to beat the shit out of his own brother.
Because he couldn't see him.
And his brother is going, Alex, it's Ted. It's Ted. He said, I don't give a shit who it is. You're going down. So he got kicked out of the game. He may be the only player to ever get kicked out of the game for beating up his own brother.
That's what I mean. You are the Lord of the lore, my friend. You got it down.
That is amazing trivia, man.
That is a great story. I don't know. I didn't hear from her. I put out the. Usually, I hear from everybody when I put out the link for the night show, but I didn't hear from her. I hope she's well. She usually sends. Yeah, she usually sends us a note though, even if she can't make it. So, I'm guessing she's traveling and got caught in airplane mode. That's the only thing I can think of.
Did you see what Delta's doing?
What?
If you don't wear a mask, you are taken off the plane and you are banned from ever flying for them again.
I love Delta.
And U.S. Marshals are the ones taking you off.
Oh,
so mouth off to them.
Very cool.
I love Delta.
I want them in jail. To me, they pose as great a risk to my personal safety.
Yeah. All right, before we get into that, let me read Susan's poem for the week.
Please.
Oh yeah.
This is for the week of 9/21 through 9/26 or whatever. Here we go. Chancellor Merkel is stepping down. Who will now wear that German crown? UN annual meeting has speeches. They dispute former governments. Or is it Taliban leeches? Who should speak at the UN for fun? World leaders finally answer to simply no one. Poland has emergency on the Belarus border. Seems like the world lacks good law and order. Gabby Petito's funeral is now over. Boyfriend is still missing. Is he pushing up Clover? Media gives missing blondes lots of attention, but missing women of color barely a mention. Volcanoes and hurricanes making the news. Does Nicki Minaj's cousin's balls have the blues? And that's our poem for this week's news.
Any poem that ends in balls is okay with me.
You know what? She goes, should I change the order? I said, end with balls. That was my contribution to the poem.
Got to go with balls.
I said, because she didn't have, that wasn't, she doesn't, she always gets these little items and they're couplets.
Oh no, that was perfect.
She puts these little, she writes them in couplets, and then she goes, what order should I put them in? That was my contribution to this week's poem.
No. Those poems are gems.
Yeah, I know. And I told her to keep copies. I told her to keep copies of them. You know,
put them on Facebook. Put them on YouTube. I'm serious. God Almighty. I mean, this is a golden opportunity. These things are wonderful.
Yeah, I know. Especially since they're so timely. You know what I mean? It's nobody's going to steal it. because it's
And
load
if
the
they're
next day.
if they're a minute or under, she could do TikTok.
That's even better.
Yeah.
I'll talk her into it.
Please. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she should. I want to tell you something. My sister said to me. Now, my sister, I have 3 sisters, but the one I'm closest to is 92 years old, and she's in good. For 92, she's in good health.
Uh-huh.
She's got
Wow.
4 daughters who are all married, successful women. Husbands are great, which is a legacy to her. That her daughters all turned out great.
Well, she's 92.
Husbands are all great.
She's probably got great
Their
grandchildren
children are
now.
great.
Yeah.
It's an amazing legacy to her and her husband who passed away. I'll tell you how admired this man was. Her husband,
Mm-hmm.
when after he died, his granddaughter had a baby. She named the girl Zadie, which is Yiddish for grandfather. Just an amazing, wonderful man. Anyway, so I'm talking to my sister. I try to call her once a week. Because she's 92. And
you should call her once a week if she's 92.
No, she loves the fact I do.
Yeah.
Me and my other sister Elaine, we call her once a week. So she said to me, "How's that job at the MoMA?" And I said, "I've had the stomach flu, and it kind of played havoc with me. And the money is good and all that, but it's very, very tough. It's very tough physically." And my sister said something, and she's not known for these, but every once in a while she comes up with these gems. This is what she said to me. She said, "You are too old to be doing something you don't love."
Yes, for sure.
And that really had an effect on me. So I've opened up a meth lab. Because I figured the money's good. The clientele never complains, that you never hear of a refund, right?
Right.
There you go.
No, but it really had an impact on me. So when I mentioned TikTok, I'm on TikTok, and I now have pretty close to 2,000 followers.
How about that? Good job.
Wow.
And it's all political. It's tough. It's all political.
Nice.
Although,
Is it like it's like the Instagram Sam stuff, right?
right, but this is I've gone away from Instagram. I'm going to TikTok. But the thing about TikTok is, you get these responses from people, and somehow I don't think they're really listening, because one of them is just out of curiosity, are you a top or a bottom?
Wow.
So I don't think they were actually listening to what I had to say.
Right.
I could be wrong. But even my wife said, she said, "Look, I'm making a good living. You have a pension. You have 2 401ks. You have Social Security. Retire. I mean, do something you love, but quit. Just quit." So I'm thinking about it.
I've been. I started applying for jobs again, and I don't know why. I think it's to get my wife to quit, and then when she retires, her pension is full in February. By full, I mean
That's
she
great.
can work. She can work till she's 65, but it's not gonna. It's not gonna help her pension out.
Once you're 66, Social Security can't touch your money.
Excellent.
That's a big deal, because they take half until you're 66. So once you're 66, that's a big deal. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I would just as soon be a receptionist in a law firm. Seriously, just sit on my ass and go, "He'll be right with you."
This is the type of job I'm looking for, because I'm getting calls. I went out on Indeed. I don't know if you've ever heard of Indeed.
Sure, of course.
But it's way better than Monster and Career Builder and all those other ones.
Is it better than Zip?
Zip. I think Zip is always looking for younger people, because my kids get their jobs,
Well,
Zip and stuff.
the one I used to look at was LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is essentially, "Hey, look how great I'm doing." Well, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, really.
I just don't care.
Well, the thing I like about LinkedIn is they will, even people that haven't signed up for them, they'll go through listings and put them on their list.
That's true.
and then hook up you with the employer and stuff like that. And there's a lot of times where, sometimes I'll hit it and it'll go to the company site and I go, nah, I want to go through LinkedIn, or I want to, not LinkedIn. I want to go through, what I say it was Indeed. I want to go through Indeed or something like that. But anyway, the thing about me is I don't need the job. I'm essentially doing it to
Alleviate boredom.
alleviate boredom. I shouldn't say I don't need the job. I like to do stuff, but I don't need, I don't need to I don't like some of these people on my age. They're going to work till they're 75 because they didn't save enough for retirement, So, and my wife and I both have enough money that we could probably retire. And if we didn't have kids begging us for shit all the time, we could retire now. But just today, my daughter lost her phone at a party, and we had enough tracking on it. And this party was in. Now this isn't going to mean anything to Sam, but Andy, my daughter goes to a party, right? With other girls. But that was it. No protection, no men around, or anything, at Evergreen and 7 Mile. Now, if you're from here,
sounds bad.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a movie called 8 Mile, and everything below 8 Mile was bad. And so when you get to 7 Mile, it's even worse.
I know enough about Detroit to know 7 Mile sucks.
And so, we discover this phone is missing. At the hospital, but I won't go into that. I don't even want to go into that part of the story. But anyway, and so by the next morning, we're watching as all of our accounts are trying to get hacked. Somebody's trying to hack all of our accounts, so we had to snap into action and take care of all that and everything. And I can't remember why I even brought this up.
Did you get the phone back?
No. Well, I know what it was. We bought insurance for these phones, and so except for the $229 copay deductible that we had to pay, we just got the phone in the mail today. So that's 2 days later we get the phone. I thought that was pretty awesome service. And my wife only charges her $200. I go, you just took out. Why didn't you charge her the full $229? For the? And she goes,
what was your wife's response?
Oh, because she was complaining because she had to pay for some of her hotel rooms in California. And that was another story. And so I know. And so I'm thinking, these kids got it too easy. They're used to us paying for everything. And the boys are significantly older than the girls. And so they've been out on their own for some time. And they know what the deal is. My two oldest boys were past the age that they got on the insurance before Obamacare. You know what I mean? So they never got the advantage of, stay on mom and dad's insurance until they're 26. They never even got that. So these kids think all this shit is free, but I'm looking to get rid of that.
The kids or the insurance?
No, the kids. Oh no,
Bye,
the insurance.
Sweetheart, if you need anything, please call.
I'm 61 years old. Insurance. I love insurance. Insurance is my friend now.
Oh, you bet it is.
So.
Give me a second. I got to walk my daughter out.
No problem. Andy, how's the laundry going?
Well, spinning. It looks good. It's all kind of cotton, but I've gotten some new shirts. So I found a shirt of the place called the Boom Boom Room up in Lansing.
I think you showed us that list. Didn't you show us that last week or the week before? I thought you showed us that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool.
It was a tiki bar. It's pretty good. But I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was a way of passing diseases while you're still drunk. It's good. But yeah, I was out driving today. Everybody's wearing a mask getting in the car, but it's like senior citizens are kind of like they put the mask on, then they pull them down. It's like, could you just put the mask on? Do I have to be a person? Do I have to be the guy that has to always tell you to keep your mask on in the back seat?
My son, Raphael, he's number 4 in the order. He just got moved up to supervisor at Potbelly, where he's worked.
Oh, cool.
He's worked there since his freshman year in college, and he's a senior now. But he just got moved to supervisor, and he said the worst part of it is, he says it's not worth the extra money because it's not that much, enough extra money to have to put up with these people that just want to be jerks when he asks them to, put the mask on.
Yeah.
Some people are just assholes about it. We will not, and I keep saying this every time I hear these stories or tell these stories. We are never going to win another war. If we're divided on frickin' vaccines, we're never going to win. And here's another thing. Once at our school board meeting, we got a couple of ding dongs on our school board, but fortunately they're not the majority, not like some of these area districts. We got people that, we got masks in our school. All the kids wear masks. Doesn't matter what their age. You don't want your kid to wear a mask? Hey, we'll set them up, and our school district can afford to set them up. They gave them all laptops. Some kids probably said they wouldn't wear masks just so that they get a free laptop. But anyway, and so they just learn from home. But it's just unbelievable, some of these yahoos that just don't want to wear masks, and somebody mentioned to this one woman who was like during the public spoke. You get to make your public speech to the board during the public time. And so one of the board members says, we made what grade is your kid? She goes, second grade. She goes, well, before she started kindergarten in our school district, we made her be vaccinated for 13 other things besides this. And as I'm listening to this, I'm not there. I'm watching it online. As I'm listening to it, don't tell people that. Now they're going to be against all the vaccines, because they've politicized this one vaccine. All the vaccines are going to be popularized now. Jenny McCarthy is going to be a senator. This is horrible.
Yeah.
She should burn in hell.
Yeah.
She should burn in hell next to Joe Rogan.
All right, I'm really gonna stop with the because I've been saying that too. That this is if AIDS was a curse from God for the evangelicals, then this is the curse from God against the evangelicals. That was what I was always saying. But I'm going to stop saying that now because
someone should write a book called "When America Got Stupid," because that's if you watch these school board meetings you're talking about, like the ones in California. Why can't someone who chairs this meeting go, "You sound like an idiot, remove her"?
I heard something on NPR about this. I don't know how much you listen to NPR, but it's like the only thing I listen to anymore. But anyway, they were saying that the journalists are finally taking these idiotic statements to task. In other words, they want to drop these bombs and then just move on. And they're going, no, back that up. Where are you getting this? What do you mean by that? So finally, the journalists are doing their job, which they should have been doing 10 years ago. But when did we become stupid? I got an answer to that story because I was part of this too. I'm not taking credit for it. I'm just saying I was there when I saw it happening. When I was in college, I worked for a marketing firm. And our marketing firm took on a guy named Robert Teeter. Does his name mean anything to you?
No.
Robert Teeter was George Bush Sr.'s pollster. And so here we were doing research, market research, focus groups, sample calling, things like that. And we were trying to figure out, are we going to sell more shoes if they have a green bottom or if they have a white bottom? Goofy marketing shit like that. Well, Teeter joins the firm and he comes along, and now we're doing the same thing for George Bush. And George Bush, even though George Bush lost to Reagan back then, everybody in the party was still impressed with these reports he came up with and how his pollster was able to call so many things. He even called, Reagan was going to win, and they were just impressed with his data. Well, he said, and it became a famous quote, I was selling George Bush the way we sell Campbell's soup. And so I think that is where it came along. Okay, now add in 2 years after that, Newt Gingrich comes along, and he starts doing the what was it, Program for America or whatever.
I know the one you're speaking of.
Contract in America.
Contract with America and stuff like that. And so what he was saying is, and I've been saying this even before he was saying it, is why are we trying to appease the moderates? Your base is always going to be the people that are never going to vote for a Democrat. You're talking, when you try to appease the moderates, you're trying to talk them into maybe voting for the other guy. Don't do that, and so that's why. And some of these questions we would ask on some of these surveys were, would you rather have a candidate that was for the Opportunity Society or a candidate who was for the welfare state? And so that what they were doing is they would find out, and they did it county by county. So you would see different ad campaigns for Bush depending on the county you were in. They didn't just do one ad that they broadcast nationwide. You would have a different ad in every county, and they marketed it like they were selling Campbell soup.
Is that Andy's head or Marjorie Taylor Greene's back?
Ha!
Wait a minute. What's that?
Oh, by the way, we just got our redistricting map, and the congresswoman that had the shouting match with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I've been redrawn into her district. I'm going to be in Debbie Dingell's.
Oh, that's
district.
great.
Oh,
I'm going to be in Debbie Dingell's district next election.
Very nice.
But the thing
I can barely hear you guys, so I have to put my ear next to the phone.
I understand.
The good thing about being in Debbie Dingell's district is she's a great congressman. The Dingells have had that seat since her father-in-law had it.
Legacy.
Like 80 years ago or something like that.
Legacy.
The bad thing is that Stevens, can't think of her, Haley Stevens, who first won in 2018 and won re-election, is very feisty and very, basically she stole a historically Republican seat. And so a lot of that support was from my neighborhood in our area where I do a lot of canvassing. And so, I don't think Debbie Dingell's going to have a hard time winning this new redrawn district, and Haley Stevens might. And, but I still think Debbie Dingell represents us better, has a little bit more power too than Haley Stevens. But in Detroit is as conservative as the UAW and the unions are here. As far as social issues, they're still, as you think of unions, they're union men, they're men. That Andy Levin is the only, and Dale Kildee are the only male congressmen from this area.
Huh.
We got Brenda Lawrence. We got Rashida Tlaib. We got Debbie Dingell. We got Alyssa Slotkin. We've got Haley Stevens. What's that? There's one more, and there's one more. But 6 of the 8 in this area, so 3/4 are all women, all Democratic women.
I got into a huge, I don't like using that word, but huge shouting match. I wasn't shouting. I was being shouted at about Ilhan Omar. And this guy I know, he said that she's an anti-Semite. And I said, listen, because you don't support Israel doesn't make you an anti-Semite. That does not make you an anti-Semite. Okay. And I want you to go through the state of Israel and find all the Jews who would support anyone who's within 5 light years of Ilhan Omar. And since you won't be able to, don't start talking to me about who's anti what.
Yeah.
And then he said, and there is no more anti-Semitic president than Barack Obama. And I wait for that. Because I said, because bless you. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I said, one president to this guy, one president in your lifetime was in an Arab country and gave undying support in a speech to the state of Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was Barack Obama in Egypt. One president in your lifetime gave more money to Israel than any president before or since. And he goes, I don't believe that. I said, you can't measure how little a shit I give what you believe. I said, you don't like him because he's black. You don't like him because of his name. You're a bigot. And he goes, I am not. I said, listen to what you're saying. You're a racist. You're a bigot. And and by the way, Ilhan Omar gave an impassioned public statement about the Holocaust and how we can never let that happen again, and what a horror that was on the world. So since you don't know about that either, you're either a racist or you're an idiot. So I'm going to give you this opportunity to pick one.
It's interesting that.
And he said, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I said, you weren't my friend before this started. I said, don't get ahead of yourself. I said, how are you
the
my
brakes,
friend?
buddy.
I said, read between the lines. Okay. Can you see that? Can you see those three things? No. You see a black woman. Okay. You see a black man. And the first thing you think is Schwarze. And he goes, I resent that. I said, once again, you can't measure my lack of interest in what you care about. I know what you are. I have family like you. I know people like you. Okay. You watch Fox News and you think that Twitter is the Encyclopedia Britannica. And he hung up. So a friend of mine called me and said, Jerry is really pissed at you. I said, do you talk to Jerry often? He goes, yeah. I said, would you deliver a message since he won't talk to me? I said, yeah. Tell him to go fuck himself. if you see him, just tell him to go fuck himself, because he knows I'm right and it's eating at him like rust.
I don't know if you noticed it. Ilhan Omar. Now she takes a lot of heat for her stance on Israel that Rashida Tlaib doesn't. And I think the reason is Rashida Tlaib is Palestinian. She's from Palestine.
That's
right. Her family is. And and Omar is from Somalia.
That's
isn't
right.
she? Yeah. So, I think people sometimes just make assumptions about people.
Well, let me give you an example.
And yet Andy Levin, the Jewish congressman from our area, is on their side on all this stuff,
Well, there's a guy from Ohio, Josh something. He's Jewish. I can't think of his name. He's to the right of Joe McCarthy.
A Jew to the right of Joe McCarthy. Is he the guy that named? Is he the guy that named all the names during the?
What about Roy Cohn? He was to the right of McCarthy.
That's true.
Can't think of his name. Josh. It's not I wish it was Cohen, so it'd be easier. But it was a name like that, and wow, these people amaze me. Did Andy dye his hair red?
Josh.
Has Andy dyed his hair red?
Here's information.
No, I don't know. That's interesting. Josh Mandel.
That's it.
From Cleveland.
Yeah.
He's got what's his name? He's got what's his name's old seat? Dennis Kucinich.
That's right. And he could not be further from Dennis Kucinich.
That's all this gerrymandering that the Republicans do every 10 years. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you knew that or not, but back in 1918, we voted to take the redrawing of the districts away from our legislature.
I did know that.
Yeah, and so these new districts that I'm talking about have been drawn by a commission that's nonpartisan. And get this, I didn't know this either, completely by draw. Everybody that wanted to do it, you submitted an application with any political or non-political feelings that you, or whatever you had, or whatever you had done politically, any offices you held, any campaigning you had done, anything. And then what they did was they put all the ones that they felt leaned Democrat in one bin, all the ones that they felt leaned Republican in another bin, and the rest in a third bin. And then they took 4 from each of the partisan bins and 5 from the independent bins. So
wow.
And they didn't that was the only qualification they had. If they didn't feel that they were competent, they wouldn't have put them in the bin in the first place. So they at least had to get that, but they decided on competency, not based on politics. They would put them in the bin based on politics, and then draw out in those numbers. And that was written into the law. We voted on that. We knew what we were getting. We knew that's how they were going to draw the people when we voted for that.
That's pretty impressive.
I thought so. But then again, you think it's impressive, but that's the same election that we legalized marijuana. So it's really hard to tell whether
Which
we
way
should be
that went.
impressed,
Yeah.
whether we should be impressed or not.
I'm impressed, and I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
It's funny. I asked my daughter the other day. She just went back to her apartment. She was here for a few weeks because of the bunion surgery.
Right.
But she's okay now. So she just got in an Uber and, she's gone. It's funny. When she first left, I didn't miss her as much as I miss her now. Because when she came back, she was here for a few weeks. And she said, "Does it bother you how much shit I give you?" I said, "No." I said, "No, you're 22. If you can't give me shit, then I didn't raise you right."
I didn't do it. I didn't do it right. Yeah, I didn't do it right. Exactly.
That's right. No, it's fine. You're a young woman and you stand up for yourself. That's all. She goes, "Sometimes I think you get upset." I said, "No, no, 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 no. No. As long as you don't curse at me." She goes, "But you don't mind that I curse?" I said, "No, not at all." She goes, "Do you know how many of my girlfriends' fathers have a heart attack if they curse?" I go, "Well, they're not Sam, are they?"
My
I said,
response,
yeah.
my response is usually if they have their friends over, I go, do you call your father a fucking asshole?"
No, she doesn't do that, but she says a lot of stuff like, "Dad, you're not getting any fucking gummies from me. Look at me. Look at me, Dad. You had a heart attack. No, you're not getting any. Okay. You're not dying on my watch. No." That's her favorite thing. "You're not dying on my watch."
That
It's
is
funny.
cool. That's great
that-
for a 22-year-old to say that to somebody 50 years older than her. That's you have to say that. You're not
Well,
going to die on my watch.
when I had cancer,
Uh-huh.
you can't see it.
Right.
So when I got sick and I was in the hospital, she would come visit me, but the doctor assured her I was going to be okay. So she was okay. But with a heart attack, and even though it was a minor heart attack, they sent me home the next day. She was there. I had chest pains. And she and Barbara took me to the hospital. And when I came home, she broke down crying. Because she said that, she didn't say this, but that rocked her. Because this is before COVID hit. When we went into the hospital, God bless Mount Sinai Beth Israel Hospital, they were on me in seconds. Okay. I came in, I said, "I had a small heart attack, 6 people, boom, 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 gone." And I told my wife and daughter, "You'll be okay. It doesn't seem to be anything major. He can breathe, he can talk." So, and it's funny when the doctor who took care of me, Dr. Fox, he comes in, right? They gave me some kind of painkiller. And I go, "You're very, very tall." And he goes, "It comes with the legs." I thought it was a great line. But
It is a great line.
He said, it's a minor heart attack. We put in 2 stents. And I said, "Where did you put him in?" He goes, "Do you really care?" I went, "No." He said, "I'll tell you what, you're going to probably send out a tweet or a text or something to your friends. Look on your right collarbone." And I could see there was an indentation where they put the stents in. I was home the next day. And I just went to the to my cardiologist, and they gave me a stress test. The treadmill.
Right.
Well, at the time I told you that thing I do on treadmill. Did I tell you this? 12-3-30. It's an exercise. 12-degree
I don't
incline.
remember. You may.
12-degree. Is tea ready? 12-degree incline. 3 miles an hour for 30 minutes. Well,
I think Andy went outside.
I don't blame him.
Hello?
When you're done, it's 350 calories you've expended. You're sweating like a dog, but it's really good for you. So when I took the stress test was not as stressful as my exercise. So the doctor said, "We're just going to say you're okay, because we can't ramp this up anymore." he said, we ramped it up to all we can do for a guy 73, and you're not breathing hard. So he said, and I said, is it okay? And this guy's very religious. He wears a yarmulke, you know. And
Right.
but he's a wonderful man. And he said, I said, is that okay? He said, well, I'm a little pissed at you. He said, I was hoping for some kind of heavy breathing. And I said, call my ex-girlfriend. And he goes, Sam, that's not what I meant. I said, I know. So I said, yeah, if you can get hold of Stephanie, then yeah, you'll have what you're looking for.
Well, I got to, that's some new news for me too. Next Tuesday, I begin what is officially a class at Schoolcraft College, but is unofficially senior basketball. But what we do is the one of the guys that I play with, and I've played with him for 30 years now. His wife is there, and they decided to get the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 12:30. They needed to have a gym class, so they created a gym class because it's a community college. You can create one for the community, not just for the kids that are doing 2 years before they go off to the Bachelor of Arts school. But yeah, it's called senior basketball. So I've joined the senior basketball class. I'm gonna play basketball Tuesdays and Thursdays. So
only one thing bothers me about that.
What's that?
Most of the time, guys your age and older, like me, you know, they play, they pass, they're mellow. There's always one asshole.
Yeah.
There's always one guy who, like, if somebody scores, he looks at you, you're on his team. He goes, that was your man. And I go, I'm straight. I don't have a man.
Yeah. Yeah, we get those guys, but you know, for the most part, that was more like when I was 50. You had those guys started falling away after. Once you get past 60, once it's the guys over 60, then it's kind of like, you know, after about a half hour, you go, are you guys ready to go to half court game? You know.
Yeah, seriously. Well, you know,
don't you just start off at a half court game? I mean, come on, let's be real.
I think that's for 70-year-old. I think that's a 70 and over.
You know Frank Santarelli.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had him on the show. We had him on the show once.
So one time, we used to play the comics in Boston. We had there was a community center, and we used to play. And he said the funniest thing he ever saw was I stole the ball from a guy, but my sweatpants were falling down, and I'm dribbling for a layup, uncontested, but I'm holding my pants up, and the guy, I'm not done, and the guy chasing me, his shorts were falling down. So you have two old assholes, literally, holding their pants up while one is trying to score, and the guy chasing me fell, and the laughter did not stop for 5 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
And so, Frank told Cassie this story, told my daughter this story. He said, you know what your father did? I go, oh, don't tell her that. And he said, no, not that. He said, the game before that, your father sank 9 uncontested 3-point shots in a row. Your father, from the top of the key, boom, 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 9 in a row. And then people started to guard him. And he sank 3 more. Your father sank 12 jump shots. He would jump in a row, 12. So the next time you make fun of him, remember that. He was playing guys 30 years younger than him, and he owned them. And I said, how do you remember that? He goes, how do you forget that?
Yeah.
I said, you're 5'5" and you're playing basketball and you're drilling these jumpers. He said, how did that happen? I said, I learned how to shoot a basket from the great North Carolina State basketball player, David Thompson.
Oh, David Thompson. Yeah.
Wow.
He said,
the guy that invented the alley-oop.
That's correct. He said, when you shoot and you release the ball, your index finger should be pointing right at the rim. And that's what I did. And Frank said, it's not that you made them, it's that you drained them. Not one hit the rim, not one hit the no. Swish over and over. And there was one guy in the group who goes, he walked over to Frank. He said, "I've never seen a Jew play like that." And so Frank said, "You ever heard of Dolph Shays? What are you talking about? They're great Jewish basketball players." He goes, "Not in this fucking gym."
The NBA was started by Jews.
That's right. That's right. And even the game for fun, the Harlem Globetrotters was started by a Jew.
Abe Saperstein, right? Wasn't that him?
Except his claim to fame was he ripped off his players. But and the commissioner's always Jewish.
Yeah, why is that, I wonder?
Wow.
Who do you want watching your money? Let's just say it. Okay, seriously. Okay, I mean, seriously. Let's just kick the stereotype right in the nuts. Who do you want out there?
Why don't we just name it the Rothschilds Basketball Association?
I thought about that. Actually, it could be any Roth. It could be a Roth. It could be a Roth plan. No, but
I used to when I lived in Los Angeles. So for the 8 years I was out there, I used to play on the. Did you ever see White Men Can't Jump?
Sure, I love that movie.
I used to play on those courts, for those pickup games. That's right, and it was a riot. And I, of course, even though I was younger, I could run faster than I can now, and I could move better, but I couldn't jump like they could. So I was the guy who was the feeder. I mean, I put everything up that looked like a shot that was purposefully 3 feet to the left, so the guy coming in from the left could just go up and slam it down.
You were the assist. You were the assist man.
I was the assist leader. I was John Stockton of my
Nothing wrong with that, baby.
So
nothing wrong with that. What's he doing now?
John Stockton? I hope he's coaching. We're going to find out though, because I got Google.
Hey, I've got a guess. I've got a guess here.
All right, who's joining us?
and Jason.
It's Jason Grant. Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
It's Mark Sweetman.
Some familiar faces there.
Hey,
Mark.
Yes, how's it going?
Pretty good. I was up at Ridley's last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And thinking about trying to do some more stuff. So it's been going pretty good, all of the things equal.
Excellent. I'm going to introduce you to the other man on the screen here. This is Sam Greenfield. If you had started comedy maybe 10 years earlier, you would have run into Sam. He's one of the road monsters that everybody talks about. We always talked about at the clubs about the comics that you always met on the road, and you'd work with them. You'd work with them 3 weeks in a row, then you wouldn't see him for 30 years. Sam and I were those guys. Yeah, so anyway, Jason.
Nice to see you.
Jason, we met when Tim Henning and I started a room called the Unclub. And
great place to start.
We started a room called the Unclub, and Jason was one of our star attractions. It was.
We're using the term star in a rather loose.
Well, let me put it this way: when guys like you and Brady, was it James Brady? Who was that kid that had the English accent because his parents were English?
Oh, yes.
Remember him?
I know who you're talking about.
And Brad Wenzel, and when we had guys, and the one philosopher that came in off the street.
Yeah.
And these were people when they got on stage, and Jason was one of them. All the comics would rush from the back row and come out and watch what was going to happen next. It was great stuff.
I just wanted to see if I was going to do something that would get my parole violated. Yeah. But
beautiful. Sam, I'm telling you, if I ever do sell this sitcom that I'm talking about, where the comedy room is part of it, we got to have the scene where the people from the street come in, because we always had beer and wine there, and they would come in for the drink, and we told them, no, you got to go on stage if you're going to drink if you're going to take some of the. And so they would go up, and so some of these street people would go up on stage and do time in order to get a glass of wine. It's a club that only could happen in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I mean, there's no other place in the world that club could have happened. It was beautiful.
No, and we'd love to get something like it going again, because it's sorely needed. It really is.
Talk to Tim. You ever see Tim? I'm going to call him.
No,
See what
not
he's
that
thinking.
much. I mean, he's not on Grindr as often as I am, so don't bump into each other as much.
Offer him
Yeah.
gummies.
And I use my real picture, so maybe that's the reason why he doesn't contact me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, I still am working around the campus. I'm still an Uber and Lyft driver until the restraining order is filed. And
Right.
you should, I mean, you should hear these kids seriously in the back of the car. They've been shut in for a year and a half, better part of 2 years. They're pissed and they're laughing. You know, and those things kind of go together. We've all been through sort of the comedy of the past 25, 30, 40 years. And those two elements, when they come together, you know, kind of
I get it.
play off each other in a very positive way.
Yeah.
So we need to get something started up here for us fossils as well as for the youngins, because they're being told to shut the fuck up and they're really tired of it.
Yeah.
I bet they are. I bet
Yeah.
they are.
They are sick to death of it. And
Because
it
they have
isn't gonna,
they have something to say.
yeah,
They
they
do.
do. They do. And they've had something kind of taken away from them. Yes, it's not been a lot of fun. It has been a pandemic, but the powers that be are doing their best to leverage that as best they can to keep stepping on the neck of anybody who opposes them. I mean, let me get my tinfoil hat out and start doing an Alex Jones impression, if you will. But
When
I'm not wrong.
when I was their age, there were two things that would make me stand up and walk away from someone older. One was, you know, when I was your age, that was
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would tell them, because I had no fear. I said, when you were my age, Ben-Hur was taking writing lessons. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the other one was back in my day. And I looked at this one guy and I said, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one, not, I don't think you care. I think you have nothing else to say.
Right.
And this guy walks up to me who was my age and he
Yeah.
goes, you know, that was my father you were talking to. And I went, oh, am I going to
Right.
get my ass kicked? And I said, I'm sorry. He said, no. Thank you. He said, no. God bless you. I can't
Yeah.
say it. He said, no. I'm sorry. You didn't go far enough. I
Well,
said, well, you know, I was trying not to be. He said, whatever you were trying to be, if he ever pulls that again, go further. I got your back.
Yeah. Well, you know, my latest set up at I did really well back in April and May when they first started opening up, and then a lot more comedians came back, and of course, you know, they need to get on their stage time. My last set, I would have given it a solid B+, but I'm disappointed in it because I pulled punches, because I was thinking, you know, I need to do this. And the thing is, after seeing the set the other people were doing, it was completely wrong on my part.
You know
And
something?
it's a
There's a
lesson
little
I'm kind
governor
of
in the
taking to
back
heart.
of your. There's a little governor. I had the same thing, Jason. There's a little governor in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And you're talking and you're going, it's going well. But if you know what it's like, you know, like when you're drinking and you say to
Yes.
yourself, if I take one more drink, I'm snockered.
Yeah.
If I take one more drink, I'm going to start making phone calls tomorrow about what I did and said.
Right.
That's that governor. So,
Well, and that's the thing. I got off to a good start, got the crowd laughing, got them on my side, and then started, instead of launching into stuff that was perhaps a little racier and a little bit funny and not ridiculously over the line, I backed away. And it was on the basis of some less than optimal advice. And it's just something I'll have to take to heart. And, you know, the next time I'm just going to do better. And that's all I can do.
Don't beat yourself up. Live to fight another day. That's all.
Let's get the.
You had a good set. You had a good set. People
It
liked
was
you.
a solid B.
Live to fight another day. You'll get the A next time.
Exactly.
I should be a manager.
I was telling them that, you know, I'm just getting out of the gym. I'm doing this stuff that wakes me up for my workout. It's called pre-workout. And I went to prison in the 80s for selling shit that wasn't half this powerful. And there was some stuff that came on after, and I opened with an old opener, but it really worked. I said, well, the good news is my anorexia is in complete remission.
Oh, that's great.
And I said, you know, this is not my first virus. I'm a man of a certain age. I remember a different virus back in the 80s, and people calling me and saying I've got it, and me just replying with, "Well, look, stay positive." Um,
Oh
you know,
God.
but then again, AIDS humor used to kill in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's funny. Oh my
and,
God,
and,
that's
and,
funny.
you know, I mean, just some things like that. And I wanted to go off onto some other tracks. And like I said, you're right. That governor in my head just kind of pulled it back in, and I shouldn't have. I should have gone further out, you know, and really use the next 2 minutes.
You know, it's funny when people talk about movies like Blazing Saddles,
Yes.
and they say you couldn't make that movie today.
No, you could not.
Well, then that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
what? You couldn't make Pink Flamingos when Pink Flamingos was made, but it was still made. So fuck.
No, but someone made it.
Make the movie you need to make.
Could you make All in the Family now?
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I bet
no.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't get it. You couldn't get a home for it.
You
But I'm
couldn't
saying
get it on.
movies
You couldn't get it on
movies are
network TV. You could not
You
get
couldn't
it
get it
on
on
network
network
TV. You
TV.
could stream it. You
Yeah.
couldn't get it on network TV.
No, and the language they used would have been maybe a little too incendiary for ears these days. But that's what I'm saying. I'm sensing a change in that. I'm sensing a real change in the kids, in the 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They're up here in this citadel of liberalism, and they're really feeling like they're being treated illiberally. You know,
illiberally. I like that.
Illiberally. I don't know if that's a Bushism or not, but if it isn't, it ought to be.
I can't even say it.
Yeah.
Jason, we got to get you and Andy and Tim and I together, and we got to find a room that's going to give us we got to tell them this is going to take a year.
Yeah.
Because that's how long it took us the first time. It's going to take a year for this to produce anything.
I think we need to get back to like maybe the Heidelberg to see what their room upstairs is doing. No one's using it presently.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's launched a few careers in the past.
That's true. It's very
and
true.
It's owned by different people. I mean, Fritz is long in the grave, thank God.
Fritz is fantastic.
Hey,
different
banged
people.
my mom back in the 50s, so I'm not, you know.
Well, the Heidelberg would be great because it's got a history.
She banged him. I don't know which, but
be realistic.
She was a hillbilly. He was German. That was her thing, man. Something about German sausage. The woman just went nuts for. But
Fritz was just a personality that couldn't be turned down.
No, he couldn't. But yeah, you're right. We need something, and I think that once it gets going and is consistent, there's really something there, and it's necessary. You know, it really is. I don't know what's going to happen with the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. It's underneath a gigantic pyramid of hubris right now, over on 4th Street, across from what used to be a dirty bookstore, and now it's.
Are they still doing construction over there on 4th Street?
I think they're just finally about finished. They haven't started.
6 years?
Yeah,
6 years. 6 years of construction. That's. And Sam, you remember the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, right?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah. So they moved to a brand new location, beautiful location. But you know, the building they were in, they sold to the Jewish Community Center, and moved their restaurant out to the suburbs. And so Ann Arbor was, we're not going to move with them. They're going to stay downtown. So they found a place that's underneath an old Montgomery Ward store. So it was like back when department stores were downtown and they were 6 stories high. So they're some developers converting it into a condo complex, but the basement was available. So they're in the basement, and it looks like every other room they've been in, every other basement room you've seen in Michigan, all these basement rooms
or anywhere.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's a nice place, but it's been under construction for 6 years. You've had to go under the wooden and scaffolding, with the boards and the faller protection and the caution tape and everything.
They built the new World Trade Center in 8 years. I'm a little suspicious.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, strong union town.
Have you been? Yeah, but we got the mafia doing the cement.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Well, again, I've been able to practice a lot in the cab, which is not exactly the same as being on stage, obviously, but you do get a feel for what material might work and what material won't. It's just transferring what is witty banter to something that's going to work on stage. They're two different things.
Jason, I got to ask you, do you still have that suspicious looking trunk? Because I remember every time.
Absolutely.
Every time
Yeah,
you
yeah.
open that thing up, all I could think of was, this guy's burying bodies somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
it had the emergency release that if you pulled on it, all it did was light up a row of laughing clown faces.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I mean, so long as you use a black light and some Marinol, you can pretty much take care of business. And you know, what can I say? I mean, again, someone accused me of trying to play on being too creepy, but it's like I look like I've been playing Human Centipede with Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy, and going to the same hairdresser.
I remember
This
that.
is the
I used to introduce him, and then after he'd get done with his set, Sam, I would say, we laugh because he's kidding. We pray he's kidding.
He's kidding.
That's
Pray
funny.
he's kidding.
You know, there's other stuff that I do where I try not to be so. Well, I mean, play into that type. You have to sort of push the envelope a little bit. But,
sure.
You know, sometimes
It's like, I like it because, God damn it, why do the young kids need to see somebody doing it? It should be the young kids pushing the envelope, not the old guys. You know.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey,
Well,
Sam? Hold on. Sam, are you there?
I'm coming back.
Okay.
Hang on.
We lost
Hang
Sam
on.
there.
All
We
right.
lost Sam there for a second. Oh, here he is. There he is.
coming
Here's
back.
us, Sam. What do we got here? There's Sam. Can you hear us now?
Hang on.
There he is.
There he is. All right, there we go.
So this is our
Beautiful.
podcast.
All right, I like it.
Yeah,
Well-
we do this every Monday night at 8:00. If you ever want to, I'll
Zoom in
send
on
you.
it?
I can
Yeah.
send you a link every week if you want to get on. All it takes is a web
please.
browser and a camera.
Love to
Well,
have you.
I've made the decision. I'm going to have to get back on Facebook just for purposes of trying to do some more work.
Doesn't even have to be Facebook. All you need is a phone and a camera.
Yeah.
You know.
Jason,
Yes, sir.
can I offer you some advice?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm double speaking. I'm sorry.
Okay.
TikTok.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me explain why.
Yeah.
I'm 73.
Yeah.
I went on TikTok. I now
Right.
have 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook is like people look at you and go, "Oh, that's nice. He's funny."
Right.
Then they leave. TikTok,
Right.
they follow you.
I like
If
that.
Yeah, and
Well-
you only have to, and all you have to do is 1 minute.
Yeah.
It's true.
So
No,
I
that's true.
strongly, not Instagram, TikTok. Do it.
Well, the only reason I've had a problem with Facebook because I am one of those folks who just did not agree well with social media. But now, I mean, it's a point where it's necessary just to find shows and book
I
yourself on
understand.
some.
I understand.
And I have to admit, I got to be honest about this. If I want to do better when I'm at Ridley's or someplace like that, then I just got to swallow my pride, go do these open mics, and just do them. I've seen people there who are professional. Mike Eshak was at one not that long ago. He's a headliner,
You know
but
who used to do open
it doesn't
mics?
bother him to go up and do it. Then it shouldn't bother me.
You know
Yeah.
who used to do open mics?
Well,
Joan Rivers.
yeah,
Yep.
Joan
Exactly.
Rivers would go to a shithole place where you had to
Yeah.
come in through the back and walk down some stairs. Can I try that again? Anyway,
Bert's
love
Deli
it.
Smoker.
stairs. And let me tell you about her. I did my set, and it was tag team, right?
right,
So I introduce her, and I give her the intro she deserves.
right.
And she gets on stage, and she goes, "I don't want to hear anything until you applaud for this guy who just got off stage, Sam Greenfield. You let this son of a bitch know how funny he was, because he was." I almost
Yeah.
started crying. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, she didn't have to do that.
No, that's got to be an amazing feeling. You
Oh
know,
my God. She's very
Yeah.
supportive.
Yeah.
Very supportive.
And I like what she had to say. Age didn't matter. Just be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll gather around your deathbed if you're funny.
No, she couldn't care less.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and when they asked her what happens if people are offended, she goes, there's a door.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's
I'm
a
trying
door.
to get a particular bit to work where I'm talking about 30 years ago. We're watching movies with it puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose again. And now here we are 30 years later in Joe Biden's basement with someone saying it puts the vax in its arm or it gets hosed again. Now, I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means. I'm just simply trying to be somewhat irrelevant. And yeah, and we're coming up on October. It's kind of the time of year to be kind of doing some darker humor. but I don't know how to make that thing sing yet. And the only way it's going to make it work is if I go up on stage and just see how people react to different inflections and different ways of dancing around the subject.
The last time I did a bit about COVID, this is what I did. I said, have you seen these ministers who are preaching anti-vax? I saw
Oh,
one
God.
on TV. I saw one on TV the other day, and this is what he said. I will not do any vaccination that oh, shit. Oh man, this hurts like hell. No. That's all you have to do. That's all I had to do.
I mean, being raised half German and half hillbilly, the one thing I learned is that all the snake handlers, before they'd go out there and handle the snake, they'd make sure someone had drained the venom. That was always the trick they would tell you about.
Did I tell you the joke, Mark, about the guy who was born half German and half Japanese? Every December 7th, he attacked Pearl Bailey.
Well, as I say, is the product of a mixed marriage. Again, a German and hillbilly. I have a desire for world domination and fried foods.
I think that's a winner.
Yeah, it's just. I'm not trying to do my act here now, guys, but I mean, it's kind of nice actually to dust off some of this stuff and put it out there. But again, I've got to get out there and start doing some more of the open mic material and just see what's going on, because when I'm doing it, I can be okay. And I can really learn how to listen to that voice in my head and maybe when it should be ignored.
Why not?
I think we need the Unclub again. I got to talk.
Oh, absolutely.
I got to talk to Tim, because that place was, I mean, to me, we can, just because of that name and its reputation, we can live off the fact that we allowed winos to get up.
Oh yeah.
And they did well. They did well. That was the best part about it. Was they did well. You'd get these drug addicts and winos off the street. I mean, it was, and they were so adorable too. This wasn't like big city winos, or derelicts. These were college town winos and derelicts. They were very amusing.
So town and gown winos.
Yeah. Well, but we need to do something. And again, you know what? There's a generation out there that's really working hard to be heard, and the powers that be, think of it as you will, I don't care, have been doing things like throwing all the ice cream and Netflix at them, as many video games as you can possibly play. But the kids are kind of tired of it, and they are not all right.
They're tired of it.
They want to hear that. They want to hear their voice, and they want to be funny. And I don't blame them. It's time. The time. Who knew that 65 was right?
Why not them? Why not them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're men of a certain age. We can certainly remember when Lenny Bruce, when George Carlin, when Richard Pryor were out there burning it up, and it was a time when comedy meant a lot. It wasn't just about selling out arenas. That happened later in the 70s, maybe into the early 80s.
It's what they had to say.
Yeah.
Right.
When you had a Dick Gregory out there really pressing, really kicking down the fourth wall and also breaking down a lot of other racial barriers. Now, he's not as well remembered. He should be, but he was a brilliant comedian.
He was the only comic on the point across. He was the only comic on the March from Selma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dick Gregory was an amazing comedian, and he should be remembered as such. And there are other guys out there now. I mean, that we need to sort of channel their energies, whoever they are.
Gregory had this amazing ability to, within like a 2-minute span, be really funny and then say something so politically significant that wasn't meant to be funny. And you sat, I can't speak for other people, but I sat there going, how does he do that? How does he make me laugh? And then in the next minute, without making me not say, oh, he's not funny anymore, I'm leaving.
Right.
Like me saying, God damn, that was great. I mean, that was a gift from God. I mean, that was like, you got to be kidding.
Well, I see, again, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And I'm just old enough to remember that, the late 50s into the early 60s, we had a great abundance. there were a lot of things that were going right, but there was still a lot of things that were going wrong, and the sort of cultural stifling, to borrow from All in the Family, was present. And it was the comedians and to a large degree the musicians that helped kick a lot of those barriers down. And then through the 70s, we flourished with what we could say, and we said it. And
there was this kid who was interviewing me. This is like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And normally, like you, I give them a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
You know, this kid was phenomenally condescending, phenomenally condescending. So he said to me, now, I don't want to stretch your memory too much because, you know, maybe you won't remember. And that's when I said, I'm going to fuck this kid. I'm going to get this kid. And he goes, can you think of any female comics whose political passion motivated you? And I went, I certainly can. Write these names down. Rusty Warren and Belle Barth.
Yeah. Yep.
And he said, I've never heard of them. I said, now there was no Google then. And I said, go to the library, go to a record store. They have records, and look them up. I said, you will be amazed at the political passion that they brought to. Yeah. So he calls me and he goes, you lied to me. I go, about what? About Belle Barth. I said, not about Rusty Warren, not about a woman whose most famous album was Knockers Up.
All right.
And he goes, yeah, but Belle Barth had a song. I said, I know the song. I'm going to line 100 men up against a wall. I bet $100 I can bang them all. I just banged about 98. I thought my back would break. I went around the corner, had an oyster stew, came back, banged the other two. I'm going to win that bang and bet. I may get a hard on yet, but I'm not a guy. Tomorrow night at the downtown Cocksuckers Ball. He goes, how do you know that? I go, well, once you hear political passion, and he hung up.
You know, we just lost Rusty Warren this year, didn't we? We just lost Rusty Warren this year. Didn't she just pass away?
Was it this year?
I think it was this year.
Because Belle died years ago.
No, Rusty Warren just passed away, I think, at the beginning of the year, like February or March or something like that.
You know, it's not true. You know, do you remember what was her name? Female comic. She lost a leg to diabetes.
Toady Fields.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. I saw her, you know, I watched her on video, right? And I have nothing against her. I don't wish anybody ill. I thought she was not, I didn't think she was funny. I don't mean like her jokes. She wasn't funny. She just talked about her life. The audience wasn't laughing. I'm not condemning her. I'm just saying she wasn't funny. But when she finished, she got this huge ovation. And I thought, well, then they enjoyed what she had to say. But she wasn't funny. It amazed me.
She does have one singular honor.
This just in. Rusty Warren died May 25th.
So.
Wow. She had to be 90.
Yeah.
She was 2 months past her 90th birthday. Yeah.
Damn. Well, Toady Fields, I'll give her credit for this because on a Mike Douglas show back in 1973 or 4, Kiss was performing for the very first time.
Oh my God.
And Gene Simmons was trying to come off as, he said, I'm evil incarnate. And she goes, you look like a nice Jewish boy from the Bronx. He goes, no, I'm a demon. She goes, well, that's funny because you can't hide the hook, baby. And,
that's funny.
And just
that's funny.
It was nice to see her just literally just light him up right underneath the seat there and roast the man on Mike Douglas.
Let me tell you a story about Mike Douglas show. You remember Frank Fontaine, Crazy Guggenheim?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So he comes on the Mike Douglas show, and Frank was fat. Frank was like, he had that belly thing, you know what I'm talking about. And he's talking to Mike about what a struggle it was for him to lose weight.
Yeah.
And he's going to this diet doc. This is 1970 something. And he's going to this doctor and he's going to that, and he can't lose weight. So they go to another person and they come back to him and he goes, you know something, Mike, the hell with it. I'm going to eat what I want and I'm going to drink what I want. And everybody went, yay! He was dead in a month. in a month. In a month. So 2 days later, Mike Douglas had, I'm trying to remember who, Bob Newhart on. And no greater deadpan than Bob Newhart ever.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Nope.
And I didn't realize he knew Frank Fontaine. And that Frank Fontaine had come to Bob Newhart and he said, I don't know how to lose weight. And Bob said, eat less food. He said, I've sat with you while you eat. Eat less. If you do it for a year, you'll lose 20 pounds. If you do it for 3 years, you'll lose 60. Eat less. So now he's on the show, and Frank Fontaine died. This is a Monday. Frank Fontaine died on a Monday. This is a Wednesday. And Mike Douglas is doing everything in his power to feign, and I mean feign, sincerity. And he goes, a real tragedy has befallen the comedy community and the show business community. Frank Fontaine, and I hear this giggling in the back, and it's Newhart. He can't stop laughing. This is Bob Newhart. He can't stop laughing, and he's going, who died tragically at the age of 59, and you can hear Bob Newhart going like that, and the whoever the director was should have won an Emmy, because they broadened out the screen and you see Bob Newhart laughing, not ha ha ha, but
right,
like stifling, to borrow a phrase from All in the Family again, stifling a laugh. And Mike Douglas looks at him and goes, why are you laughing? He goes, because he wouldn't stop eating. He said, how many people have to tell you you're fat because you eat too much? And so Mike Douglas said, well, you may have a point. He goes, I may have a point. Should I have hired an airplane to skywrite it? You're fat. And the audience is in tears. In tears. He goes, should I have skywritten it? You're fat because you eat. He said, no, that's too much money. How about just you're fat? And Mike Douglas said, I can't believe you said that. He says, why not? I said it. You were here. And I thought, whatever respect I had for Bob Newhart exponentially just exploded. Just more respect. Why am I fat? Because you won't stop eating. Okay? We didn't have to call Columbo for this one. You're fat. Oh God, was that great. But
Put the fork down.
But the giggling is what killed me. Because here's Mike Douglas trying to act like he gives a shit. And he didn't. And that's okay. I don't care if he did. But you hear this oh my God.
Do you guys remember a gentleman who used to be on Mike Douglas, and he was on some of the earlier Letterman shows? He was a German dude. He went by Brother
Theodore.
Brother Theodore.
Yes.
Brother Theodore.
I recently saw a YouTube video of him on Mike Douglas with Jerry Lewis, and someone must have told him to go after. He goes right at Jerry Lewis, and this is about 1965, 66. And this is when Jerry is at the height of his powers. And and mayhem ensues for about the next 15 minutes because no respect was shown by Brother Theodore, and it ended up being absolutely hysterical. But you could see for the first 10 minutes or so, he wasn't Jerry Lewis, he was Joseph Levitch, and he was about ready to tear this guy's throat out. But yet they managed to make it work.
Theodore was a Holocaust survivor.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I saw him. I saw him do a one-man show, and he was one of these guys. It wasn't what he said; it was how he said it. And it put me on the floor. He comes out and he goes like this. He looks at the audience with as much contempt as you can look at an audience, and he goes like this: "Meat." And I'm on the floor. I'm just I thought of all the things you could say that would make me laugh. But I met him, a couple of years
Right.
later, and at a comedy club. And
Right.
he goes, you were in my audience at a show a couple of years ago. You and was it your wife? And I go, God, he's going to shit all over me. And I went, yeah, yes, I was. He goes, thank you. Did you enjoy it? I went, very much. You're wonderful. I so enjoyed it. He goes, good.
Okay.
I'm glad you did. I appreciate it. I said,
Well,
is there anyone who you wish would die? He goes, oh, you don't have time. But the story I know about Jerry Lewis was that he was on his way to a gig in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, one of those
Right.
theater in the round deals. And the limo he was in got in a fender bender. And there's a law in Pennsylvania, I don't know if it's still true. If you're in a fender bender of any kind, you have to get out of the car. It's
Okay.
98 degrees outside. He's sweating like a pig. A guy walks by and says, as loud as you can say it, oh my God, it's Jerry Lewis. The world could hear him. Oh my God, and he walks up to him and goes, can I please have your autograph? And Jerry Lewis goes, absolutely. Gives it back to him, gets in the limo, drives away. Fuck you, Jerry Lewis. And I always thought that would be more valuable
Yeah.
than best wishes.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I have, every comic has a bad night or really just a set that lays there and dies. Certainly it's happened to me, and I always console myself with, at least I didn't make the day the clown cried. So
Oh my God.
that's my little consolation.
The day the laughter died.
The day
Yeah.
Is that ever going to come out?
no.
Apparently
Oh, no.
there's a videotape version of it that circulates in a very small, but the actual print is in a vault somewhere.
In the dark net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
there's
it's on the QAnon network, is basically.
yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
He left his
I
son.
know everyone must have been on tons of coke in some sort of a 70s halcyon haze to believe that a slapstick comedy set in a Nazi death camp was going to sing. But
he left his 5 sons nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He left his first wife, who he screwed around on with an impunity that I find embarrassing. And I was a comedian. Okay. He left her nothing.
Yeah.
He went on the Arsenio Hall show and bragged about the kid he had with his second wife, Sandy Picnic, like it was like it was from his seed. It wasn't. Just admit it. You're 65. You used a surrogate. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. No one cares.
Right.
Just a really bad guy. Just a
that's
really bad. And I hate this thing about, comics are not nice people. Yeah, yes, they are. I know too many comics who are nice people. Brilliant comics who were nice. Richard Pryor treated me like gold. I know too many comics who are nice people. And he was the best I ever saw. So I don't buy, he was a prick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was a prick.
And even now that he's dead, the fact that people are going out of their way to let everyone else know that kind of says something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because usually
you let it go.
Yeah, people will dance around it and say, well, he was a genius, he had his moments, he had this, he was that. But no, that one, it's like the old joke about Buddy Rich dying and one of his ex-band members calling the wife repeatedly, and she keeps saying, Buddy's dead. And why do you keep calling? I just want to hear it one more time.
That's right. Well, the thing I always say is, people talk about Sinatra. They don't mention the fact Sinatra integrated dozens of nightclubs. Yeah. And he's the one who called about Sammy Davis not being able to stay at the Sands in Vegas.
Right.
He called the owner because he's Sinatra. He's not calling the GM. And he goes, listen, I want to make this very brief. If Sammy can't stay here, I can't play here. Well, that's the end of that shit. Okay. Yeah. And so people said, yeah, but he did this and that. And you know what I said? And Dennis Miller, when he was normal, said this. And I always went with this. He went, everybody has demons.
Mm.
No, it's true.
Everybody, and Sinatra did a lot more good than he did bad. A lot
Yeah.
more.
Well, you can't be in that position for as long as he was. You're gonna rub shoulders with some bad people and some good people, and you're just gonna have to do your best. I mean,
That's all.
that's all there is. Gentlemen, I really appreciate this, and I would look forward to perhaps joining you again in the near future. Because
Well, stay right there, because we've come to our 90 minutes now, and we're going to wrap it up. So I just want to thank Jason Grant for just happening by Andy, and so Jason Grant,
great meeting you.
Hey, I'm on the road. I'm finding comics, man. I'm on the road.
You do a great job on the road. Maybe we should put you on the road all the time, Andy. Anyway,
you're our scout.
Get me a hotel and I will. Okay.
No.
All right.
Oh, I've had girls say that.
Yeah, really. Anyway, we're here every Monday night at 8:00. Come on by, Jason. I'll get in touch with you this week, and we'll.
Fantastic, Mark.
I'll get you through. You say you're on Facebook, so I'll get you that way.
All right.
Sam, we'll see you again next week. Andy,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for everything as always, and good night, everybody. It's time to go to bed.
Stay well, stay healthy. Love to
Thank
you.
Thanks a
you.
lot, gentlemen. You